All right, this is the Unit 1 test review. Number 1, because we have a history of colonization, which languages are spoken in North America? The three primary countries in North America are Canada, the United States, and Mexico. So those three languages would be English, French, and Spanish. The English colonized the United States, the French colonized Canada, and the Spanish colonized Mexico. Number 2, what group of people created a culture region in Canada? That would be, and was answered in number 1 a while ago, the French people. They created a culture region, which region just means area, but the area of Canada that primarily speaks French today is called Quebec. Number 3, what type of government do Canada, Mexico, and the U.S. have? We've talked about the different types of government, limited and unlimited. Remember, limited is good, unlimited is bad. The type of government that all three of these countries have is limited because we all have a constitution, the people have the decision-making power, and the leaders do not have all the power. Number 4, where are most Canadian cities located? We showed you a map during class that showed you the location of a lot of the major cities in Canada, and they were near the U.S. border. Remember, when you see this question on the test, you drew the little stick people right above the United States border to represent where those major cities were. Number 5, what two bodies of water create geographic boundaries for the U.S. and Mexico? You labeled and drew these on your desk maps as well. The Gulf of Mexico is that big ocean that touches both Mexico and Texas, and the Rio Grande is the river that separates Texas from Mexico. You had to draw little waves on that part of your map when we drew them in class. Number 6, what is an entrepreneur? We talked about this when we talked about different types of economies, but entrepreneurs are people who create businesses and therefore create jobs. Number 7, why hasn't Mexico's economy grown as quickly as that of the United States? Well, we're both free enterprise, but because Mexico does not have as many resources as we do, they have fewer entrepreneurs, which means they cannot start as many businesses as we are able to. Number 8, why is farming a primary job in the Great Plains? That would be because they have access to water and fertile soil. Number 9, why are the Rocky Mountains a difficult place for farming? We talked about the geography here, that it was not good for farming, but also that it's difficult to transport goods. Remember the pictures of the roads we saw you that are on the mountainsides. Think of an 18-wheeler having to transport those goods. Would it be feasible? Number 10, how have Mexican immigrants allowed American businesses to profit or make money? All right, on this question, what we're looking for you to understand is that most immigrants who come to the United States are willing to work for less money than the typical American is. Whichever your position is on each side, whether you agree with immigration or think that we shouldn't allow it, that's not the question we're asking here. The question we're asking is why have they allowed businesses to profit? And your answer on that one is because they have provided low-cost labor, meaning they're willing to work for less. Number 11, list 2 characteristics of free enterprise or market economy. Remember, when we say free enterprise, market economy is the same thing. Those terms can be used interchangeably. A couple of characteristics for free enterprise would be that you can own your own private business. The government does not own everything. You can start whatever kind of crazy business you want. Think of all the toys that we talked about in class. The pet rock. Nobody told that business owner you can't do that. He was allowed to create the pet rock business. Also, we set our prices by supply and demand. If nobody wants it, remember what's going to happen to the price. It's going to go down. If everybody wants it, like the Xbox 360, then the price is going to go up. Number 12, define tangible and list which type of industry produces tangible goods. Think of tangible as touchable, something that you can hold in your hand, and that would go with manufacturing industry. Think actual objects like a cell phone or an iPod, an iPad, whatever, something you can hold in your hand and take home with you after you buy it. Number 13, define intangible. Intangible is the opposite of tangible. It means you cannot touch it, you cannot hold it in your hand, and this one goes with service industry. Think of jobs like a soldier or a teacher or a nurse. These people are not going to necessarily give you something that you can take home, but they're there to help you and provide some sort of service for you. Number 14, define GDP. GDP stands for gross domestic product, but altogether GDP just means how much money a country earns in a year. So think of the higher it is, the better off the country is. It means their standard of living is better. It means they can afford better health care, better education, all of those things. So when you compare the GDP of different countries, you want to be sure that you're looking for the higher GDP to show you which country is more developed. Number 15, define literacy rate. Literacy rate is the number of people over age 15 who can read and write. Remember, we said that in America, it's about 99% of people who can read and write. In other countries like Afghanistan, it's in the 30s, 35% or so of people can read and write. All right, so when you're comparing the two countries, that number tells you how educated their population is, which means can they get good jobs? Can they make money? Can they pay for the things they need to pay for? If a country has a very low literacy rate, there's a very good chance that it is still developing. It is not a developed country. Number 16, if a country has a high GDP and literacy rate, is it considered developed or developing? Okay, I've already answered this one, but the answer on this one is developed. Number 17, where did the U.S. get the idea for democracy? All right, we watched a video clip on this one in class, but I'm looking for the name of the country where we got the idea for our type of government, which is called a democracy. That country is Greece, ancient Greece. We modeled our democracy after them. Remember, in the video, only white landowners could participate in that democracy. Obviously, ours is a lot better than that. Everybody can participate, but that is what we modeled our government after. Number 18, what are the 5 themes of culture? All right, remember your culture chant for this one. Language is the way we speak and what we write. Religion is what we believe. Government is who rules. Economy is what jobs bring us money, money, money. And customs is everything else. Do that culture chant to yourself when you reach a question that relates to culture. Number 19, define multicultural. Why is the U.S. multicultural? All right, your definition for multicultural on this one is many different types of people that live in one society. Think ethnic groups, think types of people. Remember, ethnic groups are races of people like African American, Asian, Hispanic. Those are ethnic groups. But the reason we are multicultural is because we have a history of colonization and immigration. What does colonization mean? It means when a group of people move to a new place and set up a new government. Immigration means when you move to a new country permanently. Number 20, list 3 characteristics of limited government. All right, on this one, we're looking for people have rights or freedoms. You can think freedom of speech, right to bear arms, those type things. And the leader's power is limited. Also, a limited government has to have a constitution. And remember, a constitution is just a set of rules that a government says we're going to abide by those rules. Number 21, list 3 characteristics of unlimited government. On this one, we want you to know that leaders have all power, citizens have few rights, and there's often a low literacy rate and a low GDP in unlimited governments as well. Number 22, list 3 countries with limited government. All right, on this one, there's lots of choices that you could pick from, but we do definitely want you to know that the USA, Canada, and Mexico are all limited. Other big examples that are our allies around the world would be Japan and India, and several more. Most of the European countries are limited as well. The unlimited, the one you've heard about the most in the news lately, is obviously North Korea and Kim Jong-un. But other examples we can give you would be Cuba, China, and Germany during World War II. Germany is no longer unlimited, but it was at the time that it was under Nazi control. Number 24, what famous Mexican painter often painted about his concerns for the treatment of workers? We showed you several works of art from this artist, but his name is Diego Rivera. You will need to know what his paintings look like and also what the subject of his paintings was, and that would be the treatment of workers.